Hello everyone. My name is Jones. I belong to Professional Authorship Zambia, okay, which is an organization or an association that trains people in professional authorship. Okay, so now today I'm going to talk about a topic about the knowledge. Okay, this is one of the topics about professional authorship. So the word knowledge, philosophically may be looked at it differently. Okay, there can be a lot of definition of the word knowledge, but for the purpose of this discussion, we are going to look at knowledge as a collection of facts. We're going to look at knowledge as a collection of skills, or we are going to look at knowledge as a collection of facts and skills that can be learned through education or through experience. Okay, so that is how we are going to define knowledge. Of course, the objective of the lesson is that by the end of the lesson, you should be able to understand what knowledge is, the types of knowledge, the sources of knowledge, and how one can get this knowledge. Okay, how one can harness the knowledge around their environment. So the first part of the objective is for me to actually necessarily define what knowledge is. So knowledge is the definition of facts, okay, and experience. Okay, someone may have the knowledge, but having the knowledge does not mean you are holding the truth, or you are because you can have certain knowledge about something, but that is not the truth. Okay. So you can have certain knowledge about something, but that is indeterminate. So in order for you to possess knowledge, you need to have facts around what you understand or what you have analyzed that these are the facts. Okay? In order for you to say you have the knowledge, you need to have the skill. You need to have the understanding. You need to have the training. Okay, so knowledge is looked at as having the facts, having the skill, having an understanding through education or through experience. Okay, so we are looking at knowledge as justification of the truth. Okay, the justification of the truth is what we can look at as the knowledge. All right, so now let me talk about types of knowledge. Let me talk about types of knowledge. I can look at it in terms of the series with an example of maybe you want to have a party. You want to have a party. So you can have what we call declarative knowledge. So declarative knowledge is a mere declaration in your mind that you visualize having a birthday party. So you have within your head the data or information about a lot of things on what you want to be at your party or to make this party memorable. So declarative knowledge is simply something that has been coined within the mind of what you want to do. Now, in relation to professional authorship, is that you may have a lot of ideas about a book that you want to write. You have a lot of ideas, but these ideas cannot be put into substance because you might not have been trained in authorship. Okay, so there's what we call delegated authorship. So someone needs to put what you were thinking of into some kind of tangible substance that you can say, yes, this has been something that I've been visualizing. So when you have the declarative knowledge, you need to plan. Okay, you plan so that all those things that you need for the party can come in place. So you need the planners for the birthday party, okay, who are going to bring all those things that you need for the party. So now, the knowledge of things, what we call substantive party. So substantive knowledge, okay, the knowledge of things, what we call substantive knowledge. So these people who know how to put the birthday party together, they have the substantive knowledge of the things that you need for the party, and they are going to meet what you need within your vision. So there's what we call delegated authorship. Delegated authorship is going to help you with your declarative knowledge of the things that you want to write and put it into some kind of substance that into some kind of substance of the book that you want to write. So I've talked only about two types of knowledge: decorative knowledge and then substantive knowledge. Decorative knowledge, that's the knowledge of the things, the way you envision them to be. And then substantive knowledge is the knowledge of things, okay? It's the knowledge of things, that is knowledge of material, okay? Knowledge about material. All right, so now, once you have reached this stage, when you are planning for your party or you are planning for your group, there's what we call situational knowledge. Okay, there's what we call situational knowledge. So when we look at situational knowledge, there are people who know how to handle certain situations. It's like you have a fire at your place, and then you call a doctor, medical doctor, to come and quench that fire. The doctor may not know how to handle such a situation effectively as the person who has been trained to quench fire for those firemen. So for that, you call a fireman, they will know how to handle that. Okay, so situational. So for the party, once you have put all those things in place, now the party itself now starts. You need to have people that are going to be there in order to handle all the situations that may happen in the party, so that everything goes according to procedure. Okay, so that everything moves according to the routines that are accepted within a party of the nature that you want to have. Of course, we're looking at a birthday party. All right, so now the routine of things, okay, the way that they're supposed to be done, the routine of things, protocol, those things that you follow, we are looking at another type of knowledge which we call procedural knowledge. Okay, so procedural knowledge is the knowledge of routine. Okay, it's a knowledge of the step-by-step way of doing things. All right, why should you have the knowledge about procedure as a professional author? Or why should you have procedural knowledge as a professional author? All right, each and every book is written differently. So it's important to know the procedure on how to come up with the type of book that you have chosen to write. Okay, I'll give an example. I'm writing a book on in academics. Okay, so I had to go through some kind of training so that I know the procedure on the steps that I need to follow as I come up with this kind of book. So procedural knowledge. So these books, if at all you follow the procedure, they will meet a certain standard, global standards, okay? Because you are following a protocol, you are following a certain routine. So there's what we call procedural knowledge, from the word procedure. So we have procedural knowledge. All right. So now, apart from procedural knowledge, there's what we call tacit knowledge. Okay. So this is expert knowledge. This type of knowledge you learn through education. Okay. So there's what we call tacit knowledge or expert knowledge, which you can learn through education, and this type of knowledge is measurable, whether someone has a certificate, has a doctorate, and has anything, PhD or so. So they have what we call tacit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is expertise knowledge. Okay, so there's also what we call explicit knowledge. Explicit knowledge is a knowledge about things that people already know. Okay, knowledge about things that are obvious that people know about these things. And when you talk about explicit knowledge, you know, when in relation to professional authorship, this is a knowledge that should not necessarily be found in books, because people already know about these things. Okay, the sun rises from the east. Okay, so people know already that the sun rises from the east. After Monday comes Tuesday, people know. So there's no need for you to start writing a book about after Monday, which day comes after that. Okay, so that is to do with explicit knowledge. Okay. Of course, there can be other types of knowledge, but for the sake of this presentation, I've talked about declarative knowledge, I've talked about substantive knowledge, I've also talked about situational knowledge, and I've also talked about expert knowledge and tacit knowledge. Okay, So there are a lot of types of knowledge, please, that you would want you to put in your book, the types of knowledge that you should have as you are writing your book. Of course, now we can look at the sources of knowledge. The sources of knowledge can be tradition, education itself, experience. All these can be sources of knowledge. Okay, so now, apart from that, then we can look at how do you get this knowledge. There are what they call gates of knowledge. Okay, these gates of knowledge, sometimes we refer to them as our five senses. Okay, so the gates of knowledge are things mostly that you're seeing on my face there. Okay, the nose for the sense of smell. Okay, from the certain smell, you have the knowledge that there's someone who is peeling off a lemon. Okay, that is from the sense of smell. The sense of sight, you're able to see certain things and you are able to interpret. Okay, all right. Then from the sense of taste, that is from the mouth, sense of taste, you're able to know whether what you have tasted is sugar or is salty. All right. Then the sense of hearing. So sense of hearing, that is from where you get certain voices around you. All right. And my face is surrounded with kind of skin. Okay. Okay. So I don't know why I'm even saying the kind of skin. So I'm saying the skin, sense of touch. Okay. It has got receptors. Okay, for you to perceive the knowledge of whether what you're sitting on is sharp or not. All right, so now I would like to close this lesson by talking about the DIKW as a way in which you would arrange your knowledge, as a way in which it can help you have a deeper understanding of the subject of knowledge. Okay, so that is the DIKW. Whenever you're writing a book, okay, on this lesson about knowledge. So the D is about data. Okay, not everyone can just say today you wake up, I'm an author, and then you just put your work in a kind of a book or in some kind of piece of paper, and then you say, no, I'm an author. Okay, what you might put on a book may be just data. Okay, that has not yet been conceptualized, or it may just be data, which is information in its raw form. Okay, that may be very difficult for people to get the information that you are trying to communicate out there. So professional authorship helps you to turn data into information. So it's DI. I is for information. I, information, that is putting data into context, making the data become understandable, making your ideas about the book become understandable. Okay, making your ideas about the book to be channeled into the right type of a book. So that is the information. All right. So just having information does not mean you have the knowledge. So the K is for knowledge. So knowledge is an analysis of information. Knowledge is analysis of information so that you have an understanding. So knowledge is analysis of the information. Then there is W, D-I-K-W. So W is wisdom. W is wisdom. So wisdom is the sharing, the understanding of the information, okay, that has been displayed or that you have had within your experience or that you have learned. Okay, so when we look at wisdom, we are looking at having the satisfaction of the information. You share it according to the way you have understood. Okay, so now wisdom on its own is quite an ambiguous word. Okay, it's quite an ambiguous word. But as a professional author, you need to know that to have wisdom is not something that just comes after you read a book. You need to understand what is ethical, what is non-ethical, okay? So that what you now believe in, okay, as the best practice, as something that respects humanity, then that is the thing that you now put across to teach people. All right, so now what do I mean necessarily by this? We are saying knowledge should be dispersed in order to improve the welfare of people. Having knowledge is not power, but the implementation, the practical application of knowledge to better the lives of others is where power lies. Power lies in the application and improvement of people's life because of the certain knowledge that you have. All right? So that is it today about professional authorship in Zambia. The topic we're looking at is knowledge. Okay? Remember, knowledge is not power, but the application of knowledge to improve people's lives is where power lies. Knowledge should be used to improve the good in any individual. And as professional authors, we try to write books that are going to improve the welfare of people, that will improve the way people interact with their environment. Because we believe that books are supposed to be written to help improve a country. Okay? And a lot of countries that have been writing books have developed because they have now conceptualized the knowledge that they have. So always remember, knowledge is not power, but the application of it to improve people's lives is where power lies. There is power in writing books. Okay? So think of writing one book today and contact me. I'll help you come up with that book through what we call delegated authorship. All right? Just give me your ideas of whatever you wanted to write about. Then I'm going to help you improve those ideas, put them in some kind of substance. Thank you very much, and be a member.